Hello everyone, welcome back to the Fallout 4 Nono Ninja run. This is episode 22. Last episode we sped through the gauntlet as quickly and painlessly as possible and squared off against Coulter. Had kind of a nail-biting fight with him. Usually it's either I one-hit kill him or he kills me, but despite him throwing a grenade, managed to get the win, and we're now here in Nuka World in relative safety for now. So Nuka World for a melee user has really just a must get. The gang known as the Disciples are knife users, and they'll use guns as well, but as the game will tell you, and they will tell you, they prefer knives. And the knives that they use, you can actually see one right there. It's a Disciples knife. It's basically a very high-end, high-damage combat knife. It's fast, and with the right mods, it provides bleeding and just an amazing amount of damage. And I need to get one. It's one of the big reasons to come here is to get one of those. But unfortunately, you can't just normally, you can't just pick one up, even when, if you see Disciples walking around, they don't usually around here carry them. You can't pickpocket one, that sort of thing. We need to talk to the gang leaders. Mason is the first one. With Mason, you just always want to choose the right side conversation choice. You just kind of are being cocky and strong, and that's what the alpha likes. And you get through that conversation with him. He doesn't really like you saying that unless you pass a speech check. But passing that speech check, he will give you a unique variant of the handmade rifle. But I have no need for a handmade rifle, so didn't really want to be bothered with suiting up into my charisma gear and such to make that speech check. Anyways, Disciples knife. There's two guaranteed ways to get one. One is, completing all the quests and finishing Nuka World and having the Disciples on your side, and then talking to the leader of the Disciples, who's named Nisha. When you do all that, she will give you what is probably the best melee weapon in the game, which is an instigating Disciples knife. And here's an example of one. So basically, instigating means if your target is at full health, you do double damage to them, which just makes for an absolute ridiculous amount of damage when you do a sneak attack critical. The other way is to buy one from Caitlin. She's got a beautiful Disciples knife called Throat Slicer. It does extra bleed damage. You can see the damage on that is just ridiculous. 531. Compare that to my machete. 364 is what I'm doing with the machete right now because of all the adrenaline I've got and all that, which is, respectable. But right out the gate, you could just purchase this and go to town. But neither of those are an option for me because of this rule set where I won't take any guaranteed legendaries and I won't use merchants. So, speaking of which, the moment I can, I should go ahead and drop that squirt gun. Just, I have no reason to be carrying it around. So how am I going to get my hands on a Disciples knife is going to be kind of relying a little bit on luck. There are some places around the park, 3 places in particular that I'm thinking of, where you get random spawns. And one of the random spawns in particular is quite often a group of Disciples. And they'll be fighting super mutants or gunners or that sort of thing. And so you can wait for them to get killed by the gunners and see if they have a Disciples knife on them. Or, strangely enough, because they're not in the park proper, they you can just kill them, and nobody cares. Even the guys that they're with. There'll be multiple disciples. Killing one disciple, the others just won't bat an eyelash. I don't know if that's an oversight or if it's supposed to be talking about how these raiders are ruthless and that sort of thing. But yeah, so first we need to talk to Mags and William. We've already talked to Mason, the Pack Alpha. These guys are the operators. They dress all fancy and want to make money. They're not really all about the killing like the disciples, and they're not all about, kind of ruling the roost like the Pack. They just want money, which makes them fairly easy to figure out what they want, but it's also I'm going to have to choose one gang to kind of exclude, and then the other two gangs will like me and give me their perks at the end. And the operator's perk is all about using guns, and you do extra damage from the shadows with a silenced gun. So of course that poses no interest to me whatsoever. So yeah, we will just skip that. Now there is, I believe back here, there's one. Hello, Red Eye. Goodbye, Red Eye. There's one piece of guaranteed military grade duct tape right there. That should bring us up to what we will need at. Oh no, I need one more piece somewhere. I thought I had enough. Anyways, I'll need one more piece somewhere, and then I will be able to get at least one piece of armor up to Ballistic Weave Mark 5. We're going to jump into the Nuka-Cade real quick here for the Star Core. One of the park quests that I will need to do in a little bit here involves collecting these Star Cores. I should have grabbed the one back in the little Nuka Town, USA, where the shopkeepers are, so I'll have to jump back there and grab one. And then after that I'll talk to Nisha, I'll talk to Gage, and then we'll be out on our way to try and get a Disciple's Knife. At some point I am probably going to need to sleep as well. Alright, and so now I went back and grabbed that Star Core out of the Nuka Market, talked with Nisha, talked with Gage, had 7 hours of sleep. Actually got a level up out of the deal, so we'll instantly put that into the final bit of Idiot Savant. And now it's time to go out and see if we can't find ourselves a Disciple's Knife somewhere. There's lots of little ammo boxes and explosive boxes and that sort of thing lying dotted around. I will probably explore those and open them up, not the ammo boxes but the explosive ones and the various containers, just to see, but I'll do that off screen kind of the next time I'm back in Nuka Town, USA. It's not exactly all that exciting to watch someone go through containers. I am going to just kind of get Star Control kicked off a little bit here. Just going to read Tiana's log just to get that going. I'm not going to do Star Control right now. I'm probably going to leave that to probably maybe the last one. I'd like to get as many Star Cores outside of this area, Galaxy Zone or whatever it's called, prior to going in, because if you have 5 or if you have 4 and then you can get the 5th one inside Star Control, you can immediately disable one type of enemy, kind of the lower level enemies. I usually pick the iBots when I'm doing a melee build simply because they float and so they can be hard to reach, and there's just an absolute ton of them. So I disabled those. then try and find 5 more so that I can disable the next thing, which is of course turrets. And yeah, once I've got those taken care of, this area is not quite as scary. I have been chopped to bits by turrets in here, so kind of try to avoid them as much as possible. Now, this spot that I'm coming up to right here is one of the first areas where you can get one of those groups of disciples that's coming through, but unfortunately the first time you come here, for whatever reason, nothing spawns. So you can go in there, there's a locked container and that sort of thing. That'll always have some form of adhesive, but it's never military grade duct tape, so I'm just going to skip on by. My first target isn't actually a disciple's knife, although I do want one of those. I'm hoping when I come back there will be a group, and it can be operators, it can be pack, or it can be disciples. I'm hoping that it's disciples and one of them has a knife. Now, that up there, you can kind of just see it in the distance. That's my goal. There is a skill magazine. Nuka World has 5 skill magazines called Scav. There's a Deathclaw up there that I'm going to avoid by going this way. Over here there's some ants. They probably won't see me. I can go in between them, and if they do see me, I should be able to make pretty short work of them. But yeah, the Scav magazines all have different things that they give you, different perks. This particular one gives you plus 25% damage on stilettos and combat knives. Just a straight up, it's not on critical hits, it's not on sneak attacks, it's just straight up 25% extra damage, which is huge, especially since the Disciple's knife counts as a combat knife and is affected by the skill magazine. So that, combined with the Disciple's knife, combined with the perk that I'll get for the Disciples being happy with me at the end of the Nuka World quest, which that perk gives me a little bit of action points gained back every time I make a kill with a melee weapon in VATS. Those 3 things together will kind of make this character an unstoppable killing machine until the thing that stops me. But there are some robots in here I need to be a little bit careful of. I think it's right around this corner. Of course, being on survival, I don't have the red ticks on my... Not that I would anyways, since I'm hidden. But where is... There's supposed to be one. Oh, there it is. Mr. Frothy. So even if he had seen me and gotten a shot off, he does radiation damage. A lot of radiation damage. But it's not so bad. Now that caution that I'm being detected, there is a animatronic alien turret up there. I don't think it can see me until I go around the corner. Yeah, it's basically right over there. I'm going to just wait until I'm in hidden again. Yeah, you can see it right there. It's poised and ready to shoot. But once I'm in hidden, I should be able to get close enough to it that I'll be able to blitz it right about the time that it goes into caution. And there you can see it actually kind of powered down and it doesn't have its gun out. So with it being nighttime, being in the shadows will be helpful. And right about... There we go. He did get a shot off, but being in VATS, as I was, it didn't hurt too bad. Here we are, Scab issue number 2, plus 25% combat knife and switchblade damage. Fear the Knife King. The little kind of story here is that, plus, you know, a star core is always nice. These Scav magazines are actually done by one of the raiders around here. They never actually say who, but that's kind of the idea, is that they've been thought up by the raiders here. So now that I've got that, let's just compare my serrated machete after sleeping, so I have no adrenaline. You can see now it's way down to 142, and my serrated combat knife is at 111. So definitely this is a better option. It does just 30 damage shy. I mean, it's a decent chunk of damage, but being fast, I'll be able to hit twice with it in the time it would take me one swing of the machete. So yeah, we're going to switch to this, and this, of course, and the machete will be made obsolete the moment I get a Disciple's Knife. And that's going to be a Disciple's Knife even without having any mods added to it. It's just going to straight up be better, and then once I can get some mods added to it, it's going to be ridiculously better, just over the top. I don't know if the developers just decided that, hey, by the time they get to Nuka World, they're already going to be so strong that we might as well just give them the most ridiculous, overpowered melee weapon possible. Some would argue that the rocket-boosted baseball bats are better. They do have a lot higher damage, but they are a slow swing, and so for my playstyle where I might be taking on multiple enemies and needing to make multiple attacks, the Disciple's Knife is the clear choice. Now, we're coming back up on that area where there's each time you come back there's kind of an attack. You can already hear, I'm hearing laser weapons, so that tells me, oh, and a minigun, so laser weapons told me either gunners or super mutants. Hearing the minigun tells me it's definitely super mutants. And who are the Nuka World Raiders? Oh, there's a lot.
I'm gonna eat your legs when you're dead, human!
Did the people on my side already go down? It's a little bit frightening. Yeah, we'll take this guy out so his minigun doesn't cause me any trouble. Nobody else back here. Okay, there is still some fighting going on, so let's take out this legendary really quick. And relentless automatic combat rifle, not at all useful for me. What do we got here? Oh, it was Disciples. And it looks like the Disciples all got defeated, which is actually fine for me. I would have been okay to just, kill them myself if they had a knife on them, but having them already killed just saves me the trouble. I'm not finding any... There we go, Disciple's Blade. That's what I needed. Let's quickly loot these couple of things. I could loot the rest of the Disciples, and I'm going to just check and see if there's any legendaries, but to my knowledge, at least at my level, none of the Disciples will carry anything that is a pre-modded Disciples knife. It'll always just be the base blade. But let's just go ahead and switch over. So my serrated combat knife, 116, machete is 149, the Disciples blade is already 194. Oh wait, is that? Oh, that is modded, or is it? I can't remember. I think this might have the mod that doesn't increase the damage but adds bleeding. Regardless, way better than what I've got for my other weapons. In fact, I can just go ahead and drop the machete and drop the combat knife because I will not be using them anymore. I'll just be using the Disciples blade. So I don't know where the rest of the Disciples ended up. There's usually 5. I'm not seeing... Oh, there's 1. Oh, 2. Okay, there we go. Another knife. Oh, see, yeah, that's the knife, not the blade. So let's compare those two. Yeah, they do the same amount of damage. The blade just has a mod on it that does some bleeding damage. So we'll just drop that one. I don't need 2. And yeah, we will... I'm going to head back in and check this out, see if I can upgrade it, see what I need to be able to upgrade it. I'm thinking, first of all, I'll need Blacksmith 3, if nothing else. But maybe not. Maybe with Blacksmith 2 I'll be able to get it done. Okay, having trimmed out everything, after grabbing that Disciples Blade, I went back to Fishtop Mountain, used a weapon workbench, and checked checked it over. The one that I have now actually has the hacking blade, which does extra limb damage. The other one that I grabbed, which is the Disciple's Knife, has the knife mod on it, which will do bleeding. Doesn't really matter to me. I know bleeding is better because it stacks and it will help you bring down things quicker, but honestly, most of the stuff I'm going to be fighting is going to go down in 1 or 2 hits anyways, and the bleeding isn't really going to have time to stack. The one nice thing about the bleeding is turrets that haven't armed, you can actually swing your knife that will do bleed damage at them, and it will stack the bleeding to the point that eventually the turret will just die even though it's not armed. And as far as I know, there's no other way to do damage to a turret like that. But don't have anything like that to worry about right now. I did grab a few more explosives from the various boxes around and that sort of thing. And yeah, so now instead of doing star control, which scares me a lot, the Galactic Zone turrets are just super nasty, we will be doing Dry Rock Gulch. For a gun user, Dry Rock Gulch can be a pain because everything's burrowing and it's on top of you before you know it. For a knife user, the bloodworms will explode out of the air right in front of me and I will stab them and they will die. So really the most dangerous thing in here, even if the bloodworms do hit me, they won't do a ton of damage. But there are 2 cave crickets in there and there's a bunch of ants, and those can be a bit on the dangerous side. Nothing too serious though, so let's get to it. It's in fact, these bloodworms worry me so little that I'm not even concerned about it being daylight now, because even without the sneak attack criticals, as you can see, I'm able to just take care of them in one swing. There's going to be a few more around here. Sometimes there can be like a venomous or a legendary venomous, glowing. Still go down in one hit, especially with the Disciple's Knife. So now if I wanted to, I could, that one area where I got my Disciple's Knife, there's another area off in that direction, and then one over here. It's kind of a nice little triangle. If I wanted to, I could just sit there and farm legendaries and experience and that sort of thing. I'm not going to do that. I will make a few trips back here and there to just kind of see what we can see, but I'm not going to farm it for legendaries and experience and that sort of thing. Now this robot wants me to talk to it. Meanwhile, bloodworms are saying, yes, stop fighting us and talk to that thing, because we'd love to just nibble on you while you do so. So I'm going to ignore the robot for the time being, make sure that all the bloodworms have been taken care of. It looks like we're good to go. Alright. I'll play along.
Well, howdy there, Sheriff.
I don't know about farmins. We could sure use a
I guess I could bring a little law and order to these parts, Sheriff.
the door to Mad Mulligan's mine is.
I love how they do that, where like the robot voice obviously says every word, but then they had to insert Mad Mulligan's mine in there in a different accent. They do that with Nuka-Cola Wild as well. I find it kind of humorous. So we've now got that quest. Let's go ahead and get that active on our quest marker. Not that I really need to worry about it, but yeah, it's fine. We'll just move forward, and I'm going to take care of these ants in here. I'm not going to jump down into their little ant pile and fight them all, especially in daylight, because that won't go well. Instead, most of the ants can't climb ladders, so we're going to equip some Molotovs and just toss them down at them. Now that one glowing big ant will be able to climb, and those little ones there might be able to. The big thing I was worried about is the swarm. It's way over there. Yeah, he's climbing up the ladder, but that's fine. He can try and do that. Now, did that take care of all of them? I think it might have. I should have probably brought up Vats first to see if any of them were legendary. Would have been smarter to check that first, but that's alright. We will keep moving forward. So here we go through the rest of this little Western themed theme park. There's a ton of Nuka-Cola processing machines here that I can use to craft. I will wait to do that until I've cleaned everything up so I don't get surprise attack. One of them is about to burst out over there, and then one there. No trouble at all. And we'll just keep moving forward. I did grab a few pieces of bloodworm meat. It gives you 10 radiation resistance, which isn't the biggest deal in the world, but it's kind of handy. And sometimes there are ones that will be just coming down this this little road here. Doesn't look like any this time. So they're probably waiting nearby. Be one that'll pop up right here once I get close enough. And there's the one of the ones that was supposed to be a legendary. Very nice. And a Hunter's Pipe bolt action rifle. Useless. There's going to be 2 around here to the entrance at least, possibly more, but generally only 2. Yeah, that I was going to say that one looks particularly large. Exterminator's combat armor left arm. I've got cunning on my left arm. Reducing damage from mirelurks and bugs is just really not worth it. So we'll just leave that be and continue on. Alright, so I think I've cleared most of the way to Mad Mulligan's mine. That's probably it. So we've got the 3 figures, robots that we're supposed to speak to. One-Eyed Ike, Doc Phosphate, and the other guy with... Oh, there's... Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to swing at him because I will hit the robot. And that will make him angry. So, let's... There we go. It took a bite out of me. It's not even the right one. Come on, come on. Just don't want him near the robot, so I don't hit the robot. Okay, now you go down. You can see they take just a little bite out of you. It's nothing terrible. But yeah, I wanted to get this robot started. Yeah, okay. He's said his first piece, which you can't really interrupt very well. I do that with all 3 robots. Kind of get them to get to the point just by getting near enough to them. And then I walk away, deal with more stuff. There's probably another couple of bloodworms, and then we've got cave crickets down there. Let's see, cave cricket and a hunter. So it'd be better if I didn't have to deal with them, especially in broad daylight. That would make me happier because they hit really hard, especially compared to the bloodworms. Thankfully I was able to swing fast enough through that. Cave cricket meat will give you energy resistance, much like rad scorpion stuff, so that's always nice. That trader didn't have anything. Always want to come grab the star core, obviously. Like I said before, you want to have as many as possible. And so now that should be it. Okay, so he's said his piece. He's now asking, hey, are you ready to do that thing that I asked you to do before? And once I am all dressed up properly and have eaten my grape mentats, I'm ready to talk to you.
Actually, I really don't want to do this. Can we skip it? pretty please?
A great example of the character in-game echoing exactly what I'm thinking, which is, I really don't want to do that. So I like to get everything cleared out so that I can just make sure to
I already took everyone their orders.
pass all these speech checks really quick without needing to change out of my charisma gear into my armor and back and forth and back and forth. And yeah, so we've got 2 pieces. He wants to duel.
Look, I'm in a hurry.
I am in a hurry, actually. Alright, and so we're done. We've got all 3 that we need back into our regular apparel and over to the little theater where we can open the safe to get the key to get into Mad Mulligan's mine. And this is why I killed all the ants to begin with, so I wouldn't have to worry about any of that. Just open the safe, grab the key, and we're off. Now, as I said, I could use some of these to start crafting some Nuka-Cola stuff, but I'm going to wait until I get some of the better recipes, and so I'll just hold on to all these various Nuka-Colas that I'm carrying, different flavors. Alright. Now, we will be doing Mad Mulligan's Mine and some more stuff, but we're going to leave that for the next episode. So thanks for watching this one. Look forward to seeing you next time.